Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and patch 1107 brought with it a powerful new ring with a variety of different gems that's meant to be a power spike for the rest of Season 1 and something that we'll keep utilizing within Season 2, the Circe's Circlet. What makes this ring super good are the different ability gems that you could put in this ring. We have a combination of blue gems, yellow gems, and pink gems that can deal damage, empower your character, or even heal your allies, as well as unique gems that will activate all your other gems that you are wearing, or even your allies' gems for some very powerful combinations. This ring can also be empowered and upgraded to item level 658, and it's even ult friendly, which means as long as you get the gems and the ring on your main, and then you could use that main's progress to empower this ring for the rest of your ults as well, which makes it super easy if you're looking to play multiple characters in the patch 1107. So for today's video, I wanted to do a guide to Circe's Circlet, go over how to obtain it and how your ults can obtain it while skipping all the main story questlines, how to upgrade this ring, how to buy gems, and how your main can help your ults collect even more gems, but also the best gem combinations for a variety of classes, tanks, healers, and plenty of different GPS, and which gems you should focus on using within your ring slots. As always, if you guys want to see more regular guides like these for the War Within expansion, either patch 1107 or potentially future updates like 11.1 going up for PTR testing very soon, be sure to follow the channel and subscribe. But otherwise, let's dive right in. So first things first, how do you get the ring in the first place when logging in 1107? Well, the first thing you should do is start at the main questline in Dornogal in order to even unlock the Siren Isle, which you will have to do on every one of your ults. If you're looking to play multiple characters, you will need to get the ring, and first you'll need to do that questline to unlock the Siren Isle. Once you get here on your main character, you should at least do the main storyline on that character once in order to obtain the ring. We have to go down into these Titan-esque crypts and then eventually obtain your ring at the end of the questline, while also being able to learn how to equip gems in your ring, how to take them out, as well as how to upgrade your ring. And you only need to do this once on your main character, but once you have the ring and have the upgrade item for it, now you can actually start wearing it and using it and getting the gems for that ring. The best part about getting that ring and doing that questline on your main character is now that you've done it, all of your ults can skip that questline completely. All they have to do is arrive to the Siren Isle, use the skip button in order to skip through a questline completely so they can get the ring, one of the very first gems that you get with the ring, one of the very basic ones, but also get one of those upgrade items in order to start pumping up that ring with a higher item level, already making it the highest item level ring available, though it only gets really good and actually worth wearing once you can get some decent gems for that ring. From there on, you can keep upgrading that ring and it will upgrade all the way to item level of 658. And as that ring upgrades, its gems that you can socket into it will also grow in power as well. And all you have to do to upgrade the item level of the ring, which you'll do periodically every single week by a handful of item levels, come back to the Siren Isle and complete the next chapter of the main Circe's Circlet questline, the main storyline of the island, in order to be able to unlock new powers for the ring, like being able to walk underwater and move very quickly, and eventually unlock the ability to fly on your character within the Siren Isle. And every single time you unlock a chapter of the ring, you'll also be able to upgrade it by a handful of levels, which you may want to do on your ults as well if you mean to play them competitively for Season 1 and heading into Season 2. But the ring on its own is just an item level stat stick that provides you lots of stamina. It doesn't actually do much until you can get some good gems for that ring, and recently the hotfixes of the ring can actually start to get additional gems and you could farm them easily. Previously, you had to wait until certain invasions and certain enemies invaded the Isle before you could get the gems, but in a hotfix, you can now just farm them all up, and you should do this on your main character. To obtain more gems, you have to participate in more excavations, as every single excavation for the goblins, the earthen, and the Arathi, each of them will reward you maybe 3 to 4 gems to add towards your collection, which will leave you with plenty of yellow gems, blue gems, and pink/red gems in order to augment your ring with all of these different gems. So you basically just have to keep farming them until you unlock all of them. And once you unlock these gems, they actually show up on the vendor. Now, you'll need to farm these gems once, preferably on your main character. You don't necessarily need to farm them on all of your ults because these gems are war bound, and once you've been able to unlock one of those gems from the Siren Isle activities, you can then go and buy as many versions and as many copies of the gem as possible, and all you have to do is stuff them into your Warbound bank for all of your ults to use. So you really just have to unlock them on one character, and as long as you have enough Flame Blessed Iron, you could buy up all of these gems for the rest of your characters to equip into the rings. And the vendors to purchase these gems once you've unlocked them is going to be Apprentice Tanmar, who has the Old Souls Bardic, the Mariner's Hallowed, and Storm Sewers Citrines. And Gorla is going to have access to Windsingers, Stormbringers, and Fathom Dwellers, which are some of the best gems available if you're a class that utilizes secondary stats. And Diddy the Wrench has some of the other ones like the Thunderlords, the Squall Sailors, and the Undersea Overseers if you are a class that prefers gems that do damage for you and have those secondary effects, not necessarily gems that will increase your character's overall power. However, you'll find that there's also one more vendor on the aisle that sells you 3 more unique gems that are extra special because they have bonus effects. Taljori in particular will sell you the legendary skippers that causes other gems to proc off of your base abilities. Roaring War Queen Citrine, which allows you to activate your allies' Thunder Citrine gems effects in order to have them proc instantly. Whether those are stat-based gems or they're damage gems, all of them will still proc for all of your party members. Or potentially Seabed Leviathan, which increases your character's size, stamina, but also allows your character to cause attackers to take additional frost damage when they attack you above 80% health. It's also worth noting that this gem and the rings itself, they actually are interchangeable pretty easily. Every time you take out a gem out of its socket, it doesn't actually destroy it, it just puts it back in your bags, which allows you to continuously keep using these gems. These gems also continue to be in Warbound until equipped, even if you slot them into the ring and then take them out. So if let's say you need to trade these gems amongst all of your old characters, or you're looking to switch from one main into the next heading into season 2, you can just rip out the gems off of your main character and give them to your new main in order to continue playing that character going forward. It doesn't mean you have to do a bit of shuffling with these gems and putting them on a Warbound bank in order to be able to take them in and out, but it still gives you the opportunity to play around with these gems and a variety of different combinations as much as you want to, which I think is a nice bit of experimenting that players will be able to do with some of these gems as more players discover some of the more interesting and powerful gem combinations. I also wanted to give you guys an idea of which gems you should focus on depending on which type of character that you play, because not all of these gems, at least as of this moment, are all that strong. Some gem combinations are much stronger than others, so these are going to be some of the best gems that you should be focusing on. So downright the best pink gems for most classes is going to be the legendary Skippers Citrine. This would be purchased on the Tortolan vendor, and this would basically cause your abilities to randomly proc any of your other singing gems within your ring. This one is used by 90% of classes, a huge majority of them, which end up utilizing this gem as it's one of the most potent combinations that just activates all of your other bonuses, whether they are stat bonuses or whether they are damage procs or healing proc gems. However, the Windsinger's gem is also very decent for a handful of class specs, and it's mostly great for classes that highly utilize and highly value big time secondary stats. Those are going to be specs like Guardian Druid, Beast Mastery Hunter, Windwalker Monk, both specs of Healing Priests as well as Enhancement Shamans. Those are the specs that highly utilize Windsingers over the legendary Skippers Citrine. For your blue slot, most classes that use Mastery as a solid secondary stat will want to pick up Fathom Dweller's Rune Citrine, which not only increases your Mastery, but in addition also causes all of your other gems to scale based off of your Mastery. So if you're a class that likes the stats of Mastery or stacks the stat of Mastery and prioritizes it, then this is going to be your best slot gem for all forms of endgame progression. But for any other class that doesn't use Mastery that heavily, then you'll want to go with the Undersea Overseas Citrine, which deals decent damage and even has some cleave capability, but we primarily use it in order to synergize together with the legendary Skipper Citrine for additional damage combos. For any healers, however, most healers will end up running, if you're looking for more healing rather than, let's say, damage in Mythic Plus dungeons, the Mariner's Hallowed Citrine, which provides you the most amount of healing output in that gem slot specifically. As for your yellow slots, there's really two good options. For the most part, in pure single target, a huge majority of classes, about half of them, will run Thunderlord's Crackling Citrine, as it offers you additional and excellent nature damage in pure single target fights, like raid fights for instance, but maybe in some cases like Mythic Plus as well. Though in most cases, in AoE content, a huge majority of classes will run the Stormbringer's Rune Citrine for additional secondary stats, because that generally tends to scale better in AoE content. However, there's a handful, actually there's a very specific number of class specs that will still utilize Stormbringers in all forms of endgame, raiding, or Mythic Plus. Those being basically all healer specs, DPS Death Knights, DPS Demon Hunter, DPS Druid specs, DPS Evokers, Frost Mages, Windwalker Monks, Retribution Paladins, Shadow Priests, Assassination Rogues, both DPS specs of Shaman, Demonology and Destro Warlocks, and Arms Warrior, though the rest of them will end up wanting to pick up Thunderlords for single target. Then there's one outlier, specifically when it comes to Outlaw Rogues, who would run Squall Sailor in AoE content, specifically Mythic Plus, but that's really about it. That's like the only spec that will even utilize this gem. Maybe Guardian Druid as well. I've seen some sims where Guardian seems to be doing really well with this one as well. But that's just on the side. For the most part, these 7 gems are going to be the best ones you're looking for, depending on which role you play. Tank, DPS, healer, whether you use Mastery or don't use Mastery, or whether you value secondary stats or not as much as some of the other classes. But with that being said, that's going to be our guide for Circe's Circlet for the patch 1107. As always, I want to thank all of you so much for watching, and I hope you guys did enjoy this update video. If you did enjoy it or found it informative, go ahead and give this video a like. I would very much appreciate it. Join our Discord community for regular updates for future WoW content patches like 1107 stuff or even 11.1, which should hopefully be hitting PTR very soon. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see all of you guys in our next one.